time when a trip from Evansville to Newburgh would be an hour-long commute.
Not like it's like that at all. Now, a train that only serviced visitors for a few years broadened options though before buses and cars ever could, and it's the subject of this edition of Tri-State Treasures.
The town of Newburgh continues to expand, inching closer and closer to Evansville each day. It's hard to imagine when making a trip to the historic river town was an all-day adventure. Just after the turn of the 20th century, the Evansville, Suburban, and Newburgh Railroad welcomed its first passengers. The train depot, which still stands along Water Street in Newburgh, is now home to Baker Retirement and Wealth Management. Owner Jeff Baker says, unlike steam engines of the time, the transit relied on another source of power.
A traction train, so they were electric trains. A-B, back and forth, just back and forth. Okay. I'm sure it had stops along the way. Evansville was, I'm sure, the bigger port, and so that's where things would come in on boats and probably bigger trains. And then from Evansville, the tractions would distribute it out to Newburgh.
Evansville commuters would board the train from a depot inside Stockwell Woods, now known as Woods, arriving in Newburgh hours later. Another line then ran round-trip routes from Evansville to a bustling Boonville, passing through Stevenson Station and Chandler. Baker says unlike steam-powered locomotives, the speed of the traction trains had limitations.
The reality is trains and even tractions, they can't do elevations. You know, they can't pull them up and down. They don't do that very well.
In fact, a grade of less than 0.1% was maintained on the entire route, an engineering feat for its time. As highways were enhanced, buses and automobiles became the primary mode of transportation. And by December of 1930, the 11-mile-long Evansville, Suburban, and Newburgh Railroad system ceased operations. The property then fell into the hands of local philanthropist Jane Crenshaw. Baker says Crenshaw had a new plan for the aging brick building.
It had been several different things, but she bought it to make it her residence and remodeled it and rebuilt the train station.
Although the tracks are gone and the ticket booth is closed, visitors to the town of Newburgh can still make their way down Water Street in search of this tri-state treasure. Tommy Mason, 44 News.
And now, the most powerful radar in the tri-state with Chief Meteorologist Cameron Hopman.
Well, check out these high temperatures we hit today. Temps in the mid to low 80s throughout the region. In fact, 82 degrees, your warmest temperature felt here in Evansville since October